This is Mad Movie Mark with the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1990 action, adventure, drama, swashbuckler Cyrano De Bergerac.
Tom, si tu joues, je vais être obligé de te fesser les joues. Les marquis se taisent sur leur banc. Ou bien je fais tâter ma canne, alors vraiment fleurisse en aille, ou bien je le laisse en rire et le désentripaille. Qu'il sorte!
Oh, whoa, hold on. Wait, hold on. Calm down, everyone. I don't mean any harm here. I'm just reviewing every movie that has 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm giving them all a score of 1 to 10. After I watch them and score them all, I will rank them from worst to best. I started the 1920 silent movie era. I'm going chronologically in order through this list. I am now at 1990 with Cyrano De Bergerac, the first movie that I'm reviewing of the 90s. This movie has a 100% fresh rating from the critics and a 90% fresh rating from the audience. It stars Gerard Depardieu as Cyrano De Bergerac, and Brochet as Roxane, and Vincent Perez as Christian. So with this movie, I would say the first half was kind of slow for me. It does a lot. It does a really good job with story building, but there were parts that I just found kind of annoying. And then it's a 2-hour and 18-minute movie. The second half of the movie is really where it picks up, is really where I think the best acting is in this movie, where the best action is, the best cinematography is. I think everything in this movie that is worth anything is basically in the second half of the movie. So what this movie is about is Cyrano de Bergerac is a famous poet and a very famous sword fighter in France, and he has a very long nose. So he believes that he will never be able to find love in his life. Even the ugliest woman would never want to be with him because of his looks.
Qui j'aime? Réfléchis, voyons. Il m'interdit le rêve d'être aimé même par une laide. Ce n'est qui d'un quart d'heure en tout lieu me précède, alors moi j'aime qui? Mais cela va de soi.
And the beginning of the movie, there's actually a really funny scene for me, because he knows that people are going to make fun of his nose, so he starts bringing up nose jokes before anyone else can, to kind of like break the ice and to show that like he's not going to let this bother him. I do the same thing with ginger jokes when I walk into a room or when I meet people. I just start, sometimes I tell ginger jokes just to get it out of the way. I would say more in the past than now. It doesn't really, no one really cares now, but in the past I used to do that. But he kind of does his own big nose jokes in front of people just to kind of get the upper hand and to show that he is in charge. But after that, we see the scene with him talking about how he doesn't think he could ever find love because of his nose, and it's a really sad scene. We learn that he is in love with Roxane, who is his cousin, and that this is why he doesn't think he could ever profess his love to her, is because of the way he looks. One day he is asked for a meeting with Roxane. She asks to meet him, and he thinks that this is going to be his chance. Maybe she does have feelings for him. Maybe this is my chance where I can finally tell her that I have feelings for her. And in this meeting, she tells him that she is in love with Christian, who is in his, like, Cyrano's in some sort of like military group, and he is in Cyrano's military group.
Et moi, j'ai vu trembler les aveux sur sa lèvre. Et figurez-vous, tenez que, justement, oui, mon cousin, il sert de votre régiment, puisqu'il est cadet dans votre compagnie. Il a sur son front de l'esprit, du génie.
You can kind of tell that Cyrano is a little crushed by this, but he doesn't show it outwardly. But you can feel that he is crushed by this. Later on in the movie, unbeknownst to us, this guy Christian is making fun of Cyrano de Bergerac, and he's just giving him a really, really tough time in front of all these people. So Cyrano clears the room, and he closes the door, and he automatically knows that this person is Christian, and he gives him a hug, and he says, like, you must be the one who loves my cousin Roxane, and like, I'm here for it, I'm here for you.
Embrasse-moi, monsieur, brave.
Ah, ça, mais...
Très brave, je préfère.
Me direz-vous?
Embrasse-moi, je suis son frère.
De qui?
Mais d'elle. Hein? Mais de Roxane.
Si elle vous, son frère?
Ou tout comme. Un cousin. Fraternel.
Elle vous a...
Tout dit.
M'aime-t-elle?
Peut-être.
Christian then says that he doesn't think he could ever really move anywhere with Roxane as far as relationship goes because he is not smart. He's militarily smart. He can fight with a sword, but he's not good with words. And Roxane is really about words and poetry and the spoken language and, you know, saying things eloquently. She likes to have men say eloquent things about her. She likes to have men say poetic things about her. And he knows that this is not something he could ever do. So even though he loves her and she loves him, he doesn't think that he should pursue a relationship with her because he can't be with her in that way. Cyrano then volunteers to write love letters for Christian so that he can kind of, he says that since he has the words but not the looks, he wants to give the words to someone who has the looks. So he's kind of like living through Christian in a way where he can finally see his poems, he can finally see his written language, he can finally see the beautiful things that he wants to write about Roxane, make her happy, even though it's not making her happy for him, it is still making her happy, and that's what he wants. He wants to see her happy. So he starts writing these love letters for her. Now, she eventually, you know, there's going to come a time when she's going to want to be with Christian alone and have these things said to her. Christian thinks that he is ready for this. He says at one point that he doesn't think he needs Cyrano to help him write things anymore because he has Roxane's love and that's all he needs, and he doesn't need to be able to eloquently speak to her anymore. So he has a meeting with her, and she kind of, you know, says she wants him to say poetry to her, and she wants him to say these eloquent things, and he just can't do it.
Sans doute, et puis...
Et puis, je serais si content si vous m'aimiez. Dis-moi, Roxane, que tu m'aimes.
Vous m'offrez du bruit quand j'espérais des crèmes. Dites un peu comment vous m'aimez.
Mais... beaucoup.
Later on, he returns that night, and he's outside of her window, and Cyrano's hiding in a tree, like feeding him the words that he should say. So he's very much still reliant on Cyrano, even though he didn't want to be, because he knows at some point he's going to have to, like, not be reliant on him. Now, there's another person in this kind of love triangle who is in love with Roxane and wants to marry her, and he is kind of like the leader of the military group that they're in. She at some point she makes it seem like she's going to marry him, and she like kind of validates what he's saying, but then later on she has this like shotgun wedding with Christian so that she doesn't have to marry this guy. Now this guy, being like the leader of the army, he sends Cyrano and Christian away to battle, so you know, maybe they're not going to come back and he can be with Roxane himself. So now this pretty much sets up the second half of the movie with the battle that they're in, which is it's some pretty amazing stuff. And you actually, I think this is where you really see the Cyrano De Bergerac's his passion that he has for this woman, his determination that he has to make this woman happy. You saw it a little bit in the first half, but I think it really comes out here in the second half. So in the second half, when they go to war, Cyrano pretty much promises that Christian will write her every day. He ends up writing her every day, and he has to go to enemy territory to mail the letter. So every day he's risking his life, and he does it twice a day. He's risking his life to send these letters that he promised he would send. Now Christian doesn't know that he's sending these letters. He doesn't know that Cyrano is risking his life every day to send these letters. But that's what he's doing. He's risking his life to make sure that she's happy and she knows that Christian is okay, and that Christian still is in love with her. Now, fast forward a little bit, they go into battle. Christian finds out that Cyrano is delivering these messages and decides that he wants to try to deliver one himself.
Mais voilà, j'écrivais tes adieux.
À Roxane?
À qui d'autre?
Ah oui. Tu crois peut-être qu'un messager volant emportera ta lettre?
Non, on peut traverser. aller jusqu'à Vimy.
C'est impossible.
Non.
Tu l'as fait?
Oui. La nuit.
Tu écris souvent?
Plus souvent que tu crois.
And when he goes to do this, there's like this, I don't even know where it came from. I wasn't really expecting this, but there's like this wagon that pulls up, and inside the wagon is Roxane dressed like a guy. So she came to the battlefield to see Christian because she missed him so much. And while she's there, the encampment that they're staying in ends up getting attacked, and Christian ends up getting mortally wounded. But before he's wounded, he realizes that Cyrano actually loves Roxane, and that these letters that he was writing for him are the feelings that he had for Roxane, that he was just kind of living this through him. And he says, you need to tell Roxane that you love her, and that these were your letters, and that these were your feelings, because she deserves to know who actually was sending these letters to her. She deserves to know the truth. Now, he can't do it because he still thinks that because of his the way he looks, that this is not a good idea, and that she would not love him at all. Now, right before Christian dies, he does kind of think that he can approach her, but after Christian dies, he kind of decides that he's never going to do it, because she now will never love anyone else besides Christian because he's deceased. So after the battle has been won, after everything has been fought, we go forth a little bit in history, and we learn that Cyrano and Roxane meet like every Saturday to discuss poetry and to discuss events of the week. Now, there's a group of people who don't like Cyrano, and they decide that they are going to ambush him and try to kill him, and they basically hit him over the head with a log that just falls on his head, and he's pretty much mortally wounded. Now, they try to get him to the hospital, they try to get help for him, but instead of seeking that help, he goes and he has his normal Saturday meeting with Roxane, so that he can die knowing that he didn't skip out on their meeting, to know that he was there with her. He wants to die, be there with her, and he wants to make sure that he didn't let her down in any way. And that is an incredible love story. I think it took me, I think at the beginning of the movie when I was watching it, it took me a long time to get past the fact that they were cousins, and I didn't really take it serious in the beginning. I realized he has feelings for her and he loves her, but it's his cousin. It's not going to, this isn't going to be a driving force of the movie, but then it is the driving force of the movie. It is his reason for living. It's his reason for everything he does. It's his reason for breathing. It's his reason for everything, is this woman that he loves who just so happens to be his cousin. And it's because of the way he looks that he thinks that he can never be with her. Now, at the end of the movie, she realizes that he is the one who was sending the poetry, and he is the one who was in love with her. And I got the feeling at the end of the movie that she would have looked past all of his physical, his physical attributes that he didn't like, and she could have maybe pursued a relationship with him, but unfortunately that's not how it was meant to be. And at the end of the movie, this is a really solid love story. The 2 hours and 18 minutes, when I was watching the first half, it really made me worry that I wasn't gonna be able to get through it, because it's kind of slow, it's kind of boring through the first half. But then when the second half came, I was all about this movie. I think that it's so well acted, especially at the end. Now, Cyrano, played by Gerard Depardieu, he has a lot of speeches and a lot of really good dialogue at the end of the movie, especially after he is mortally wounded. He has a lot of great dialogue and a lot of back and forth with Roxane, which you don't get anywhere else in the movie, because he doesn't interact that much with her. There's one big scene when she tells him that she's in love with Christian, but there's no really other back and forth banter between them, and I think that's sad because they have a lot of chemistry together in this movie, and I could have seen more of that, to be perfectly honest. So, I mean, the acting, especially on his part, is really fantastic. Now, in the beginning, what annoyed me was that while he's fighting, he's coming up with poetry, and I really just wanted to see the fighting scenes. The poetry stuff that he was saying was kind of annoying to me, and I'm someone who loves poetry, I really do, but it was kind of annoying. It made him seem like he was like a jerk, which maybe, I mean, that's probably what it was going for, but it just wasn't entertaining to me. It wasn't fun, it wasn't funny, it was just kind of annoying. But later on, his dialogue gets a lot better, and his character, I think, really grows, and it really shines. He's really fantastic in this movie. I also thought that Vincent Perez was exceptional, and Anne Brochet was also very good in her role here. But at the end of the day, it's a very solid love story. The last hour is a fantastic action / war movie. It's just I could name like other movies, like better war movies, better action movies, better romance movies, better dramas. So when it comes together, it's not like the greatest movie I've ever seen, but I would still give it a 9 out of 10. I think the last half of the movie warrants a 9 out of 10, and that is an hour and like 18 minutes, so that alone just could have been a really awesome movie, to be perfectly honest. So I give it an I give it a 9 out of 10. I hope you join me next time. I will be reviewing the movie The Juniper Tree. I haven't seen it yet, so I hope it is a good one. Thank you. Have a great day.